Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the #1 sports podcast, broadcasting Sundays at 9 a.m.-ish in Sacramento, California. Sports Talk 916. Now here are your hosts, Greg Bowl and Coach Greg Barroso.
Oh, good Sunday morning to you all. It's episode number 284 of this little shindig we call Sports Talk 916. I'm Coach Greg. Up there is Mr. Chief Greg Bowl, and we're here to talk about sports. Imagine that when it's a show called Sports Talk 916. What's happening?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good. I think I'm my allergies have kicked in or something because my voice is gravelly and I've been coughing like a you know what.
And your volume is very low.
Is it?
Yes.
Let me see.
Maybe do a little clicky on your volume
Does that
controls
help?
there.
Does that help?
Not really.
I don't know how to set up my volume for speaker.
There we go. I think we got you.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. So, lots to talk about. Basically, it's going to be our NBA free agency show.
Okay.
Nothing much really going on in the world of sports that is relevant. I mean, World Cup is moving on to the semifinals against England. Women's World Cup. They continue to dominate the competition there. Good morning, James. Let's see. The NHL free agency period starts up very soon. The signing of Erik Karlsson is proving already to have a domino effect on some Shark favorites or fan favorites in the Sharks organization. Joe Pavelski is engaging in talks with the Dallas Stars to potentially be leaving the Sharks, which is unfortunate. However, if Pavelski leaves, there's a very good chance that former fan favorite and all-time great Patrick Marleau may be interested in coming back to the Sharks after he was traded in a couple of years ago. He wants to be back to his family here in the Bay Area, so that could be an interesting revelation there. Major League Baseball is in London for some god-awful reason nobody knows.
Did you watch any of that game yesterday?
No, but it was like 17-14 at the end. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Or 17-13. Let's see what else is going on. The Giants have been getting calls about Pablo Sandoval on the trade market. Madison Bumgarner still being on the trade market in high regards. So there's a lot going on, but really, like I said, what we care about this week is NBA free agency. And before we get into the brass tacks about it, I have to say something about the NBA. Last week, we talked about the draft being broken, and you got all pissed off about the hats and all that shit that goes along with that. And this week has led further proof that the NBA is a broken machine.
I know where you're going with this.
They're not supposed to be able to talk to players until today at 3 p.m. Pacific time. The fact that there's already multiple agreements in place that are expected to be signed during the free agency period, which starts again today in a couple hours, is a joke. It is supposed to be nobody talks to anybody unless it's a restricted free or unless it's someone that's on your team about a trade until the league year starts. The top 4 guys on the board for NBA free agency either have a deal in place or they are planning. They've already talked to 3 or 4 teams that they plan on signing with, and should have a place today or have a deal in place today by the time the league year starts. Why is the NBA not cracking down on the governors of their teams for not following the rules? I don't understand why it's such a broken ship.
Because the inmates are setting the rules. The inmates are doing it. The owners, the governors, are the ones.
They're owners, all right? They're not. They don't own the fucking players. They own the teams.
Right, but they own the league, and they're making their own rules. Therefore, they're probably also setting up their own running of it, and the own overseeing of it. And
hold on, before people get too upset about what Greg just said, saying the inmates are running the show. He's not talking players. He's talking about the owners.
Owners
under Adam Silver. Adam Silver is the warden.
Right.
All the owners or the owner of all the teams.
Yeah.
Are the ones running it. The players obviously have a say in it, but he's not referring to. I can just see that turning into a race card pull
Oh, no,
he's throwing all these people
no.
inmates. No, he's talking about the owners of the teams.
I'm talking about the owners of the teams. There's something else too that shows that the NBA is broken. How can the LA Lakers go from having a full squad, trading 3/4 of their team for one player, having 3 players under contract, not being able to sign anybody over the minimum, and now all of a sudden, not only can they go for one max contract, but they'll be able to sign another 9 players.
Yeah. And all of that because they were able to restructure a trade that was in place, because the trade, while official, can't be official until today at 3 p.m.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It really freaking doesn't. And it's one of those things where it's just it's a farce. It is a absolute farce that they could continue to do this. I don't know. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke that the NBA is being ran the way that it is. Oscar says the inmates are running the asylum just like in public schools. I completely agree. It's weird. I don't know. It's stupid. Hey, if you guys are on the show right now and you're listening live on Facebook, we appreciate you. Go ahead and please, if you're a part of one of the 755 active Sacramento Kings fan groups on Facebook, please share this video. We're going to be 98% Kings heavy on this show today. And we would love as much participation as possible. I'm just sharing to all the groups that I'm a part of right now. I don't know. It's just, it's a joke to me. The fact that Woj knows more than Adam Silver does about what's going on in his league. It's comical. And that's the only way to put it. It's absolutely comical that they don't have a reign on this. What national day is it, Greg Veroza?
I'm looking right now. I knew he was going to ask.
Bleacher Report just reported about a huge offer for the Kings are going to make for Al Horford. I heard that it has to be upwards near $100 million over 4 years, because that's what Philly is close to in offering for him. So that's going to be interesting as well. Anyways, National Day today. Before we jump into all this,
it's National Social Media Day today.
Great. I also want to make a point that it's actually pretty fitting that we are talking about mostly Sacramento Kings talk today. For many of those folks in the Crown Downtown group and in the Sacramento Kings groups that were a huge part of the Kings staying in Sacramento 4 years ago today, we actually lost one of our Patriarch members. Rob Sperling passed away. So rest in peace to Rob.
Has it been 4 years since
4 years already? June 30th, 2015. I got that call from Ernest Wong that morning, and we had lost Rob the night prior. And
I had never met him, but I knew. I mean, I heard of him. I knew the name, and so I didn't. I wasn't, like I said, I didn't know him, but I know that he played a big part in what was going on. So
played a huge role in everything that happened here in Sacramento. So let's go through a couple of the big names with NBA free agency, and then we'll get more into Kings eccentric stuff. But the big ones that have already been essentially announced: Klay Thompson, no brainer, staying with Golden State, max deal, 4 years, $151 million or $184 million, I believe it was. Let me see. Hold on, let me find it.
I thought it was 190.
Was it the 192? I don't know. There's so many damn numbers being thrown around. 140 is the one that is a new deal. 190. Yeah, Klay Thompson, 190. The Boston Celtics have already agreed in principle to a deal with Kemba Walker, 4 years, $141 million, leaving Charlotte. The Brooklyn Nets have agreed to a 4 year, $141 million deal with Kyrie Irving, leaving the Celtics. That will ultimately mean that they are renouncing their rights and their offer to keep D'Angelo Russell as a restricted free agent, that he will be unrestricted. He's expected to meet with the Timberwolves and the Lakers today. Let's see who else. Derrick Rose and the Detroit Pistons are meeting. Nikola Mirotic is leaving the Milwaukee Bucks, and in fact is leaving the NBA altogether. He's signing with Barcelona to go back to the EuroLeague.
Which is crazy. I don't understand that at all.
Which is absolutely insane to me. I don't know if it's Mike just asked the same thing. Why do you think Mirotic went back to international ball? He may have just felt that he doesn't have a role that he wants here. I mean, he could go there and basically be a star. When any former Euro player or NBA player goes back or goes to international ball, they're on like a god level there in most times. So
and it's about money.
It could be family related. It could be money related. It could be, who knows. Another big thing that happened this week, and it put the Indiana Pacers on a little bit of a back pedal. Former Kings guard and Pacers guard Darren Collison announced his retirement from the NBA. He wants to focus on being his path as a Jehovah's Witness. So he's leaving basketball completely for religion, and will no longer be a part of the NBA, which takes a pretty big point guard off the market. Jimmy Butler is expected to meet with the Heat today at 3 p.m. While Houston is still clamoring to get a deal done to bring him in. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, how that affects the Kings. Kevin Looney is going to meet with the Rockets and the Warriors. We're going to skip that one. The Lakers have reached out to Patrick Beverley, who I know a lot of Kings fans want, as well as Seth Curry. Nikola Vucevic is staying with the Magic on a 100-year deal for 4 years.
100-year deal?
100-year deal. He's never leaving. $100 million deal for 4 years. $100 million years for $4.
Right.
Great deal. Really low tax implications, but he'll be fine. Bucks extend a qualifying offer to Malcolm Brogdon. Rubio is likely to sign with the Pacers, so there goes their backup point, or there goes their point guard position, losing Derek Collison. Kawhi Leonard has narrowed his teams down to 4. He has it narrowed down to the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks, and the Raptors. Coincidentally, Kevin Durant has narrowed his teams down to the Warriors, the Knicks, and the Clippers. There's a large speculation group right now around there that says you're going to see Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant as LA Clippers this upcoming season. I feel that they're both going to be New York Knicks personally, but I think that they're both going to go together. You're not going to see those two separate. It's going to build a super team wherever they go, which I think is interesting. You shook your head no. What do you think about that?
I don't think he's going to go to the Knicks. I don't think anybody's going to sign with the Knicks. I agree with Andre Iguodala that nobody's going to sign with the Knicks. They're going to end up with just scrubs because that is just a complete shit show.
So you mentioned Andre Iguodala. We're not going to get into his interview, but if you have an hour, find that interview online and listen to it. He peels back so many curtains on the NBA and the Warriors and the league. It is remarkable, the shit that he has, and I can't wait to see about reading his book because I think there's going to be some crazy information in that book, which is going to be.
I need to go listen to that. I've only heard bits and pieces of it.
Yep. So here's a fun one. We'll start with the Kings. Okay, there's a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff going on. The big one was Kings were in on Vucevic, then they weren't. Okay, cool, no big deal. Willie Cauley-Stein comes out and says he doesn't want to be a part of the future here. Kings come out. Sign him to an offer sheet. That way, he's a restricted free agent. It has to be a sign and trade, or someone has to basically beat the offer for him.
They didn't sign him to anything.
Or they offered
made the offer. They offered
one. Then there was reports about, I mentioned Jimmy Butler to Houston. In order to do that, they would have to make a move that basically relieves them of the contracts of Clint Capella, PJ Tucker, and Eric Gordon. The Kings were said to be interested on that. We're not sure if anything came to fruition on that or not with Vlade. There was also talks about possibly making a trade with Oklahoma City for Steven Adams. That included Bogdan Bogdanovic, who apparently Vlade doesn't want to include. I say you make that trade in a heartbeat. Bogey fell off big time last year. We don't know if it was a fluke or if he was overworked. But if you could get a guy like Steven Adams, you take the risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck, Bogey. We loved you here, but we'll see what happens. A funny story that came out, and I'm sure Kings fans across all these groups got an instant hard-on when they read the headline. DeMarcus Cousins open to a return to Sacramento. And then if a few of them, that was all it was. Like, I'm looking at CBS Sports right now, and that's all the headline is. Oh, Cousins open to a return to Sacramento. Multiple other publications, including Yahoo, The Athletic, and a few other places, added an extra little line to that headline that said, Cousins open to return to Sacramento. Kings are not.
Yeah.
There's no place for DeMarcus Cousins here. He doesn't fit what they're trying to do. He won't come in as a backup player. He won't come in as the center that basically sets a tone down low. He just simply won't. And that's going to be a huge step backwards for Vlade Divac. It shows that DeMarcus is essentially concerned about the landscape that he has laying forward. I ultimately think DeMarcus Cousins stays in Golden State, and I think that's the best fit for him. So there's a lot of moving parts. So let's get into things that we know for sure have already been laid out. Okay, so we talked about the league year opening. Oscar, I will take you up on that. It's in writing. I'm going to take you up on it. He says if Boogie comes back to Sacramento, he'll give up his season tickets. I'll take him. I'm not going to buy him, but I'll take him. We talked about the league year and how it happens too early. The Kings have reportedly already have a deal in place with Harrison Barnes. 4 years, $88 million. Or 4 years, $88 to $90 million. There's conflicting reports. However, Kings fans seem to be ultimately upset about the number. They feel it's high. They feel like it's an overpayment. I ultimately think he is being overpaid, but I'll explain my reasoning behind that here in a moment. But Kings fans got really pissed off about this, and I'm hoping that Sammy's on, because Sammy was one of the folks that was a little bit upset about this. And the complaint was, you're now paying your highest paid player on your team is your fourth scoring option. And I saw that circling around a lot of these posts. And there's a few things people are forgetting. One, your two best players, three best technically, are still on rookie deals.
Right.
Fox and Buddy haven't been extended yet. They haven't need to be. So once that happens, they're ultimately going to be, Buddy will be the highest paid player on the Sacramento team, regardless of who else is there. But then I started peeling.
Hold on. You think Buddy will be the highest paid player, or Fox will be the highest?
I think Buddy will be paid. Well, Buddy will be the first one because his contract is due up first. Right. But ultimately, I think they'll both be. Buddy will be the highest paid, and then by the time Fox's deal comes around, the NBA salary cap and the CBA and everything's going to go up. So ultimately, I'm sure Fox will be higher by default. Yeah. But I think Buddy will be ultimately the highest paid or the highest valued player on the Sacramento Kings team. But then it really got me thinking, and I posted this to a few people. And of course, when you post logical questions to folks, you don't typically get a lot of logical answers. But
especially in Kings fan groups,
right? James likes to call them Seahawks fans 2.0, and I'm starting to see that a lot more. Here's my question. Are they upset about the fact, Don, we're going to get to that in a second. He's on the list of folks. Are you upset about the fact that Harrison Barnes is getting 4 years and $88 million? Or are you upset that it's Harrison Barnes? Because the money would have been the same. Actually, let me rephrase that. If you would have made a trade for Steven Adams, or if you would have signed Vucevic or Tobias Harris or any of those players, the money's the same, and they would still be the second, third, or fourth option on this team. They wouldn't be the number one guy. Unless you sign a Kevin Durant, a Kawhi Leonard, a Jimmy Butler, then maybe those guys climb up the ladder on scoring options. So let's just say they're still the fourth player. Are you upset that you're spending that kind of money? Or are you upset that you're spending that kind of money on Harrison Barnes? Because the money would have been the same. And again, I didn't get any answers out of that. The only real answer I got was, well, Harrison Barnes disappears. He doesn't, we didn't see him worth that money. And
so I think that's your answer is it's Harrison Barnes. I don't think they'd be upset spending that money. I think they're upset at spending it on Harrison Barnes.
Don just hit the nail on the head. I'm going to elaborate on what he said here in a second because that's my next point. Yeah, they're upset that it's Harrison Barnes, but to say that Barnes disappeared, and a few people, commented, oh, well, I live in Texas, and I hear the rhetoric from Mavericks fans all the time that he disappeared when needed and yada, yada, yada. When Barnes signed that max deal, leaving Golden State after they won that first championship and signed with Dallas, I was blown away. Harrison Barnes is not and was not a max deal player. He never has been.
No.
So Dallas grossly overpaid for him when they signed him. Now, I don't know what his role was in Dallas. Obviously, I don't follow the Mavericks. I don't know what their dynamic was there under Rick Carlisle. But when he came here, Dave Yeager's first comment in the press conference was, we got our small forward. We got our guy. Vladdy got us our small forward. We're ready to go. Harrison Barnes started 2 games at small forward for the Sacramento Kings when Dave Yeager was head coach. He played at the 4.
Yeah.
So my question that I posed about the whole disappearing thing was, can we really grade Harrison Barnes last season? Because he came into a very shaky situation. It was a very run-heavy offense that he wasn't a part of, getting used to. He never played his position. The rotations were terrible. Dave Yeager didn't have a grasp on what they brought in Harrison Barnes to do. So does he get a free pass? Because we don't know if he really disappeared or not. And if you're looking at just simply value based on defense and veteran leadership and presence alone, then I don't think Harrison Barnes disappeared at all. But offensively, everyone has a hard on for offense. Everyone wants offense. I don't think he knew what his role was. I don't think he wanted to come in here and step on toes.
And as much as you and I defended Yeager right before he eventually got fired, the more and more I hear about what was going on, the more that I think it was a justifiable firing. I think that, and I'm going to tie this into Barnes, is I don't think Yeager knew how to deal with the players that he had. He had some holes in the roster, and I think he was trying to fill them, but I don't think he was doing it in an effective way.
I agree 100% with that comment.
Yeah, absolutely. And and the proof of that is, how many games did Bagley start? There's your 4, and he didn't start any games. What, 3, 4, 5, something like that?
Yeah, until he got hurt, and then all of a sudden it's like back to this weird rotation.
Right. And
you start Bogey out of position. You start Barnes out of position. You don't start Bagley, who should be in a position to start. Yeah, it was a broken system from the jump. So I don't know how much of that we can put on Harrison Barnes for.
I don't think you can put very much at all. I don't think so. I think the test is going to be. I think this is a start over year. I think this is the ground zero for Harrison Barnes. Whoever the coach is going to end up being, I actually hope it's Walton, but whoever it's going to be, and if they can put him in the right positions, I don't think you're going to see him disappearing like that. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So I think that, again, look at the people that you're arguing with, that they're prisoners of the moment, and they don't have the ability to look into the future and see what's going on just by using common sense. So,
well, I'll add more fuel to this fire. Harrison Barnes' best year came in Golden State. The year that they won the championship. Hold on, I have to sneeze. The year that they won that championship was the first year that Luke Walton was. Is the first year that Walton was the assistant with Golden State.
Right.
They're being reunited. That should help. That should help a bit for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when you break down Barnes's contract, if it's $88 million, it's $19 million per. If it's at $90 million, it's $22.5 per. if you look at the contracts of current starting small forwards in the league, that's not on a rookie deal, Harrison Barnes is right where he should be. LeBron James makes $37 million, Paul George $33, Kawhi $32, Durant $32, which obviously both of those are going to go up. Chris Middleton $32, that's going to go up. Wiggins and Porter both at $27. Otto Porter is grossly overpaid.
Yeah,
at $27 million. Nicholas Batum $26 million, overpaid. Under Barnes at $19 million. Trevor Ariza at $15. Not Kellen Winslow, he's a tight end. Winslow $13. Ingles $12. Harkless $12. Grant $9. Anderson $9. So he's right where he should be money wise.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly worried about the Harrison Barnes money. Will Nanoff says Bagley's the reason Jaeger's gone. Bagley's the reason that the ball started rolling on Jaeger being gone, and then all the other shit came out that just made it a much easier release of Dave Jaeger. NBA Central is reporting that Kyrie Irving has reached out to Iman Shumpert about joining him in Brooklyn. That would be a pretty good spot for Iman Shumpert. Let's see. Don asked, if Horford is getting a 4-year, $112 million deal, why not go for Vucevic and offer the same for a younger player? Well, Vucevic has already agreed in principle to a 4-year, $100 million deal to stay in Orlando. He wants to win, and he will be closer to him. Couldn't go to the Knicks because we all know how bad that front office is. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but yeah, we agree that the Knicks are bad. TJ, it's going to be interesting to see what the starting lineup looks like on opening night. That's part of the determining factor on whether or not this is a good move. Very true. Last thing on Harrison Barnes. The fact is the Kings have to overpay for people, period. And I don't think Barnes would have gotten $488 on the open market. I think he's more of a $480, $78 style player. Maybe $85. I don't think, and I know it's like pennies compared to, what we're talking about, but you got to remember the Kings, it's a scratch our back, scratch your back kind of situation. He opted out of $25 million. If he is at $488, that drops $7 million more onto, or $6 million more onto the salary cap for this year, which allows the Kings to be aggressive for an Al Horford or a Vucevic or a Tobias Harris or whoever it is that they end up going after. So yeah, we'll give you a little bit more than maybe the market demands because you did us a favor, and now you have a long-term commitment. So you're good to go. So there's a lot of moving parts with that. Let's see. Don also I'd rather trade a draft pick for Capella or Adams, in my opinion. Horford would be a huge upgrade. I agree. And the other one is
how old is Horford?
Horford's got to be in his 30s. He's on the. This is probably going to be his last big contract.
What I'm afraid of is at the end of the contract, he's going to be too old to really be productive.
I don't think so. I think his style of play, he's going to be that Kevin Durant style. Just a product of just consistency. Like he can play. He reminds me a lot of Vince Carter without the leaping ability. So imagine Vince Carter now, who can't jump as much as he used to. He's now Al Horford.
Right.
Jason Anderson of Sacramento Bee says a well-placed league source tells the Bee that the Kings are expected to make a massive offer to Al Horford when free agency begins at 3. There is mutual interest on both sides. I'm told Horford's camp has not scheduled any meetings today with any teams.
Wow.
And the first comment on there, and this is actually a post that Cyrus posted, who we've butted head with Cyrus plenty of times, but I actually agree with them. This would be a great signing if they can get Al Horford. And I believe it would be an immediate upgrade over the other player that the Kings are talking about, and that's Julius Randle.
So Al Horford's 33.
Yes.
Okay.
What about Dedmond?
I don't even know who that is.
So a lot of talk's been going on about Dedmond. He's a center, and he'd be cheap. He's a good rebounder. He's a good he spreads the floor. He would be one of those guys that.
Who does he play for? I don't even know.
I'm drawing a blank on where he played. Houston. I want to say Atlanta last year, I believe. So that would be an there's a lot of it's crazy to me that a lot of the talk and a lot of the excitement right now around the Sacramento Kings is at the center position. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited that Willie Cauley-Stein isn't part of that conversation.
Yeah.
It does worry me a little bit that nobody in the league is talking about Willie Cauley-Stein in a sign or trade situation or whatever it might be for the Kings. The Kings may get stuck with Willie Cauley-Stein because they sent out that offer sheet. Hopefully it's for like $7 million a year because he's definitely.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what I heard it was.
Which would be great for the Kings. If you can get Willie Cauley-Stein at $7 million a year as a backup guy, bring it on. I'm all for that. Another deal that I didn't mention that's apparently already done. Kristaps Porzingis and the Mavs have agreed to a 5-year, $158 million deal. So there's a lot of moving parts. The other interesting thing with Kevin Durant that I didn't mention was there's talks about him signing a 5-year max deal with the Warriors and then being traded to the Knicks. Now, you can't do a sign and trade on a 5-year deal in the NBA. It's not allowed under the CBA. So the talk is there could be a mutual agreement where after December 15th, when the newly signed players are eligible for trade, the Knicks come in and facilitate a deal with Golden State to get Kevin Durant. I'm afraid that I'm not afraid for the fact that it'd be the Warriors getting screwed over, but I would be afraid as a Warrior fan that something major happens with the Knicks, an injury or something where that deal can't go through. And then all of a sudden they're handcuffed to 2 max deals for 2 players that are hurt and potentially the value falls. So I don't think that happens. But I thought that was a very interesting, prospect.
I don't know what kind of capital that the Knicks have to send for Durant. Who do they have that would be worth Kevin Durant? I mean, they have no players.
It's got to be draft picks and just money that matches.
Because the only player that they've had in the last 20 years that's even close to being on par is playing in Dallas right now.
Well, and John Starks isn't going to have any value anymore, so he's out. TJ, Enes Kanter also rumored to have interest from Sacramento. Enes Kanter was the Kings were rumored to be in on him for the trade deadline last year. And in a way, I'm actually glad they didn't do that because when he went to Portland, he did well, but I don't think he did well enough to get a giant contract this free agency. So that could actually bode well for Sacramento. There was other talks about Nerlens Noel could be a backup here. I'm not a big fan of Nerlens Noel. I think you were the one that brought that up.
I like that. He's a better Willie Cauley-Stein.
He is a better Willie Cauley-Stein.
He's a better Willie Cauley-Stein.
So is Dwayne Dedmon.
And if I have a choice of having Stein or Noel as my backup center, I want Nerlens Noel.
Oh, without a doubt, if that's the case.
Because he'd be willing to come off the bench. He's been doing it already. So I think that's a great pickup if that happens.
I can see that one.
I mean, ultimately, if I had my choice and if everything lined up, I think a tandem of Nerlens Noel and Steven Adams would be amazing.
Yeah,
because I think it's two different styles of game, 2 different players, and they're both effective when they're in playing in the game. Where right now we have nothing that's effective more than every 5th game.
Right. And then there's also, like I said, the idea of Al Horford coming through is appealing. Enes Kanter, if there still is a way to trade for Steven Adams, you have to do it. Mm-hmm. I think that literally is the no-brainer of the offseason right now, is that if you can go out and get Steven Adams, even if it costs Bogey, you go out and you do it. There should be no doubt about that.
And if you need to replace a player with another quality player, Bogey's position is the position that's probably the easiest to fill on the floor. So that's just not even. There's no thought even to that.
Exactly, I agree 100%. The other player that I think would be extremely interesting, and I was listening to 11:40 in the afternoon, and by the way, Jason Ross and Doug Christie is so much more soothing to the ears. Hold on.
Ladies and
so much more soothing to the ears than Grant Napier and Doug Christie. If it could be the Jason and Doug show, I think that would be so much better.
Are you now on the I Hate Napier train?
No. I like Grant. I've listened to his show forever. The vibe coming off of Grant or Doug and Jason was just so much better to me.
Yeah.
But I'll digress off of that. The what was I getting at? Oh, I Doug mentioned it. So he liked the idea of Al Horford. He liked the idea of Patrick Beverley, which I think would be great. The Kings are interested apparently in Patrick Beverley as well.
So is everybody else.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody's interested in Patrick Beverley. But the other one that he mentioned, and no one else seems to be mentioning right now, is Marcus Morris from Boston. You have him come off the bench as a backup small forward. Now you have toughness, you have grit, you have the ability to spread the floor. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of intrigue. The Kings, even after signing Harrison Barnes, still have something like $48 million or something like that available to them. They had 62 before. Just imagine if you could get the right guy here. That's a player that people are going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I like the idea of that. I'll come play for Sacramento. Bring it on. I am all for that. So that's definitely going to be an interesting prospect. What other than the guys we've mentioned, and maybe it is a guy that we've mentioned, who is your must engage conversation? Like maybe not sign, but who is your must go after and have a sit down with?
Free agent wise, or I mean,
you can't sit down and trade someone.
No. So, I guess it would be Al Horford. I think that's somebody that I'd like to see. I'd like to see somebody just a little bit younger. This Dwayne Dedman sounds like an option. I mean, the only thing that scares me about Horford is his age. Everything else, his game, everything else I'm fine with. It's just his age.
Shouldn't the Kings get a little bit older? I mean, we are the youngest roster by forever in the NBA. I mean, look at a good example is look how much of a leap forward. It wasn't a huge leap. Last year was a huge leap, but look at the leap forward that the Kings took when they brought in Zach Randolph and Vince Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will, I've already let that ship sail, unfortunately. Durant's not coming here.
No. We don't want him now.
Yeah, for sure. Not with an Achilles. But look at the leap they took when they brought in those two veteran guys. And they took a bigger leap last year when they opened up the system. Now you bring in a coach that potentially could handle it better. I think Al Horford would be a great addition simply for the fact that there is a lot of a need for a veteran. Now,
right.
The other name that it's weird, this guy's fallen off the map completely, is Tobias Harris.
That's another one.
Initially, Tobias Harris was up there in the talks with Durant and Butler and Kemba Walker and all those guys, and then he's kind of fallen off. So don't really know where he stands. Chris Middleton, I would have bent over backwards twice for Chris Middleton to come here as a small forward. They signed Harrison Barnes, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But he's going to go somewhere. I think he's going to end up staying in Milwaukee. D'Angelo Russell, I have a huge sneaking suspicion that he's going to end up a Laker again.
Yeah.
JJ Redick's another player that's still out there. If we did have to get rid of if we did have to get rid of Bogey in a trade for Steven Adams, I would absolutely take a look at JJ Redick. He's older, but he can still play. We mentioned Julius Randle a little bit. We could really, really screw with Scott Moak and go after Bojan Bogdanovic and have two of them on the team.
I pulled up a list and I just saw his name and I thought that would be funny.
So the other one that Doug Christie mentioned, and it intrigued the living hell out of me. If we can't go after, even if we went after Dedmon, I think Dedmon can still be a backup center because Kostas Koufos is going to be gone. Let's say we get Dedmon, we don't land Clint Capella, we don't land Enes Kanter, we don't get Steven Adams. What about Brook Lopez?
He's a solid player. He's that definitely gives you some toughness that we haven't had in a long time.
Some toughness, the ability to stretch the floor,
right?
Still some agility. He rebounds. He blocks shots.
Is he a free agent? Yeah, he is a free agent.
And he's a free agent. So that would be a very, very interesting one. I think I would be excited about that move. Mike Hawthorne, was there serious talks with the Rockets for Capella, Gordon, and Tucker? A lot of the reports that I saw threw the Kings out there as interested simply for the fact that they had the cap space to take them all on and they had a need for a center in Capella. I don't see why they wouldn't entertain the offer. All three of those guys would make this team better. They would give them some better in scoring, some better in defense. I think Gordon and Capella are the two better pieces out of that deal. I like Tucker, but I don't think he fits in here well unless, Bogey or someone young was included in the deal. So that would be a little bit of an interesting one.
I'm going to throw out a name here that this is half jokingly, but Nene is a free agent.
Nene, yeah.
Why not sign him to a 2-year contract?
I don't think I would sign him to 2 years. I think I would sign him to 1. I would give him like a 1-and-1. I just don't know that I would go after that play. I mean, there as a last resort, maybe, but I don't think I would throw him in as like a let's go out and get a guy. Like he's not a call on the first day. He's a call in like the second week.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going through the list of all the teams now that have free agents. So we mentioned Al Horford, Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier is likely going to have his. Actually, Terry Rozier is going to have his rights renounced by Boston because they're signing Kemba Walker. Terry Rozier would be a great backup point guard option for De'Aaron Fox, which would ultimately shut the door on probably a Frank Mason future. TJ, if it was 2011, I would go for Nene. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. I'm just kind of scrolling them through. We mentioned Lopez. Robin Lopez is also a free agent, but him and Slamson would fight nonstop. That'd be annoying. Marquise Chris is a free agent. You can bring him back to Sacramento. We'd be able, I guarantee you, if Marquise Chris came to the Sacramento Kings, I can get him on our show multiple times.
Yeah.
100% guaranteed.
Doesn't his cousin or something live right down the street from you?
His godfather is a good friend of mine. He lives right down the street from me. Here's another name. What a backup point guard. What about Isaiah Thomas? As a backup to De'Aaron Fox, it changes.
Is he willing to play as a backup? Is he willing to come in as a backup, though?
Why not?
Well, you and I think it's all right, but does he? I don't think he's gotten off the idea of him being an all-star and the starter.
What if it's 4 or 5 days into free agency? He hasn't got a deal yet. Teams are offering him like a 1 year, $15 million, 1 year, $20 million deal. Kings come in and go, you know what? We'll give you a 2 year with a player option at $16 million a year.
See, I think the first part of that is wrong. I don't think anybody's going to go one year for $20 million.
Well,
I think he's in
Sorry,
I think he's an $8 to $10 million player right now.
I keep forgetting that this isn't like. I keep forgetting that the numbers are lower in the NBA than like NFL. So let's say it's 1-8.
Yeah.
Let's say what, the Kings come in and go, we'll give you 2+1. We'll give you a 2-year with a player option for the third, and we'll give you 12 a year. But you got to come in and be our backup. You got to be our Bobby Jackson. You got to be our spark off the bench.
And I could see him playing. I can see him signing a 1-year contract in Sacramento over anybody else, just to get some playing time in and be able to test the market next year.
Could be interesting for sure. I'm just scrolling the rest of these here. Oh, another thing I want to talk about is the sensitive ass fucking Kings fans, and we're gonna get to that in a second. Mike Hawthorne, Thomas will take a backup deal. Dude knows he's on the brink of not playing a legit role in a squad. He has to take something to prove himself again, and that could be where what Greg just said. He could come in and essentially take a backup deal. Or a 1-year deal to prove himself. And I don't think that would be a bad thing. Another free agent center. What about Joakim Noah? Yeah, I didn't think so either.
It'd be funny. I mean, Kings fans love him.
Right. So we mentioned Julius Randle. I'm not a big fan of Julius Randle. A lot of people like the guy. A lot of people think that he would be a great fit here. I'm just not sold on him. So that would be interesting. The other name that no one's mentioned that Kings fans were high on very early on is DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he has kind of dropped off the map here. That there were a lot of people that were interested in him, and
I was all over it. I think he'd be a great fit.
Jimmer's a free agent.
Jimmer's going to be on the Warriors Summer League team.
I know.
We mentioned Nerlens Noel. Damn, Timothy Mozgov is still in the league. God, Jesus Christ.
What about there's another guy, and he's not signed, is Pau Gasol.
Yeah, Pau's but he doesn't fit the mold. He can't run anymore. He can't get up and down the court. Greg Monroe's still available out there. There was also another report that the Kings could look at Phoenix Suns restricted free agent Kelly Oubre Jr. as a backup small forward. But he's restricted, so that would cost them a little bit of capital. We mentioned Enes Kanter. Another one, Josh just said, I think Horford is a great fit. Plus, he can help our young bigs. I agree. I think that would be a huge plus for the Kings. Josh, you go ahead and get your comment up on the screen there. Good job. What about Al-Farouq Amino, backup small forward? That name got thrown around. I think that would be a very good.
I was just looking at him here a second ago. Yeah.
Danny Green's going to be available. I bet you Danny Green ends up in LA with LeBron. What about Mr. Scottie Pippen's lover, Mrs. Scottie Pippen's husband, Eric Moreland? Bring him back. Do you see that? So Scottie Pippen's going through a divorce, and a report comes up right after at the Toronto Raptors championship parade. Eric Moreland's seen with a new arm piece, and it ends up being Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
No way, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So there's that. Maybe that's why he wasn't playing so much. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the run of the big names.
I'm looking through the list here to see if there's anybody else that a lot of guards that I wouldn't mind, but we don't need any guards.
Katie and Leonard are going to be free agents. I love Kyle Guy, but why do we draft more guards? Because Vlade doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Doubt Kings will spend the money to get him, though. Yeah, they're not going to be able to get those guys.
What about Luol Deng?
Again, 2011, I'm signing Luol Deng and Nene together.
Right.
I just don't think that that's a piece now that would fit or make any sense. But let's get to sensitive ass Kings fans real quick here, because this might take a little bit. Ryan Cotta just made a comment. Y'all wouldn't be happy even if we signed George Maloof. I think he said we would be happy if we signed George Maloof because Kings fans are happy about everything. Why the fuck is my phone not unlocking? Here we go. This post came through last night. Last night. And I made a point to comment on there, and this is where James came in with his Seahawk fans 2.0. But before we do that, we're going to let a few people get in here. Again, if you guys are in here and you're listening, share this to your Kings groups or your Kings fans so we can get some more participation. But we're going to pay some bills, and then we're going to come back and talk about how sensitive these fucking Kings fans are. Be right back. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years, and he's come on board to bring the awesome sales buying experience to each and every one of you. All of his information is on our website at sportstalk916.com, but if you're in a hurry and you're looking for a new car, give him a call today. Antonio Pacheco, area code 530-218-7069. He will answer all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience, and he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. Yep. And if you're looking to buy a new home, obviously we'll get to Greg Veroza here in a little bit, but I've gotten multiple messages from Albert Chavez, the Mortgage King, one of our lead sponsors here on the show, and he mentioned to me that interest rates for refinancing and home purchases have dropped multiple times in the last couple of weeks, so now is definitely the time to buy a home or look into a refi. You can call Albert at 916-230-1537 if you're looking to get pre-approved or looking into refinancing. If you are looking to buy a home, you call Greg Veroza along with Albert Chavez. You get that money and that ball rolling, and you'll get yourself into a good home. We're going to play some information from Veroza here in a little bit, but make sure you call Albert Chavez, 916-230-1537 to get pre-approved so that Greg can find you a house, because without the money, Greg doesn't get to do very much work.
Absolutely.
Sensitive ass Kings fan. So let me read you this post, and I'm going to let you respond to it before I do.
Okay.
This is from a person named Nye Jimmy in the Sacramento Kings Kingdom. Oh wait, you know what we should do? Hold on. We should make this shit official. Here we go. And now, crazy quotes from Kings fans.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
All right. Again, last night, about 5:45, this posted. Iguodala, Crawford, Terry, Wesley fucking Matthews, even stupid Cantor said no to us. We have to be better at courting these free agents. I will never forgive those guys ever. First of all, Enes Kanter never said no to us.
Right.
I believe the only time Enes Kanter's ever been around was during a pre-draft workout. Iguodala used us for leverage. Crawford, I'm guessing that's Jamal Crawford, got a better offer from the Clippers. Jason Terry was traded here and refused to play. Wesley Matthews, coming off an Achilles injury, took a same money but better with who was it at the time?
Chicago?
Whoever it was. No, I don't remember who he signed with. But and then again, Enes Kanter. So my response was, y'all too damn sensitive. Those guys all said no during a time where we had no front office stability. Yep. We had a fluctuating arena situation, or we were getting ready to go into Golden One Center. We had a brand new owner, and our team was led by a diva who had total control of the entire situation, and nobody was getting better around him, who also couldn't lead us to more than 30 wins. Why the fuck would any of those people want to sign here?
That's who you need to be upset with. It's not.
Yeah, he's not Portland. Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, no, you need to be upset with everybody's favorite son.
TJ's right. It was Dallas, not Portland. Damn it, Charlie. I take that back. He signed with the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the deal. What the fuck does he? I will never forgive those guys ever. Did they come and slap him? Like, why are you holding such a damn grudge? And Kings fans were like were co-signing on this post left and right, and I think the post has since been removed. I couldn't find it this morning.
Really?
It's just, man, I don't understand. Like, I get it, you know, Kings fans, if you're upset, you're upset. Like, cool, whatever. But I will never forgive those guys ever. Makes you look like a sensitive ass little bitch. Not to mention,
it makes you look like the ultimate homer too. It's like not everybody's going to want to come to Sacramento. Not everybody's going to want to go to LA. So there's going to be some people that, you know, would be willing to come here. The majority not, because we're not a destination city. So, and somebody posted, I don't know, one of the things that, yeah, hey, they can go to a River Cats game in the summertime. Woohoo.
right? I did see that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
There was another thing too. Last I saw the post, it had nothing but laughing emojis. Okay, cool, Nick. It's still there. Then I couldn't find it. There was another one too that I saw that I thought was absolutely ridiculous, and I'm drawing a blank on it now. I'd have to go scrolling the pages to find it, but it's just I don't understand it, man. It's just you guys get so wrapped up in all this, and I shouldn't say you guys. There's a lot of there's a handful of there's a very small group that gets so wrapped up in it that it's absolutely ridiculous. But you know, I guess it is what it is. I mean, it's the Kings fan mentality. Back then, the best we could do was Aaron Aflalo. Things have changed. God damn! Don't remind me of Aaron Aflalo. Oh, the other one. Someone posted about wanting to sign, and I can't remember what guard it was, but about getting this player here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It was hilarious that they even brought it up. But basically said, what if we could sign so-and-so to be our Bobby Jackson, Jason Terry style backup player? And instead of like, you know, welcoming it, here it is. Would Terry Rozier be willing to come in and be our modern day Bobby Jackson, Jason Terry? Our second string point guard who can be our spark plug when we need it, the sixth man, so to say. First of all, if the Kings do, or if the Celtics do renounce their rights to Terry Rozier, I think the Kings need to call him. He does want to be a starter, but again, you know, if the money's right, you might be able to get him to do this. But my response was, so he's going to sign here, refuse to play, demand a trade, and never be seen wearing a Kings jersey. Great idea. Why would you even, where in this thought process does the idea that he could come in and be our Jason Terry be? Jason Terry refused to even suit up here. Bobby Jackson, sure, come in and be our spark plug.
Yeah.
But Kings fans, they equate this to so much different shit. Don't throw out names of the most hated. That'd be like saying, ooh, we could get Enes Kanter to come here and be our Spencer Hawes.
Or our Robert Horry.
No, well, Robert Horry never was a Kings player that people hate. Like, it's
He's
certain
just a
people
player that we hate.
be our James Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, no, stop it right now. Like, just stop it. According to the B, Horford is receiving a massive offer from the Kings at the opening bell of free agency. They confirmed Al Horford suitors at last. The Kings definitely have significant interest in Horford, according to sources briefed on Sacramento's thinking, and they have the cap space to pay Al the reported 4-year deal worth in excess of $100 million circulating in the past week. So, yeah, Sam Amick just a couple minutes ago, 10:03, so 3 minutes ago, despite the Kings' significant interest in Al Horford and plans to make a massive offer, a source tells The Athletic that they are under the impression that he's likely heading elsewhere.
Oh, wow.
And the first response on this was good. So that's interesting. So let's say Horford is off the book. We talked about it a little bit. Where, if you're Vlade Divac, where's your plan B? What is your second option if he's out of the picture?
I don't know. I think you're going to have to
just start calling and just get that flip phone of Vlade's just working as fast as he can possibly dial it.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to have to go out there and look at a whole bunch of people, maybe some people that you talked to before that maybe you gave up on because you thought you had a chance at Horford. Maybe you circle back on some of them. I think you're going to have to find somebody fast. If not, you're going to have to wait 4 or 5 days to see who just isn't signed.
You think it's going to take 4 or 5 days? I don't think it's. I think it's going to be.
4 or 5 days.
Well, the thing is, everybody already has their plans made. So essentially, we're already on day 3.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 days are already done. Mark Ty, there were reports that Cousins open for a return to the Kings. Mark, we talked about that a little bit ago. Depending on where you got your headline from, many of them said DeMarcus Cousins open to return to Sacramento. A few selected ones that, didn't want people to read their articles, I guess, actually put the story in the headline, which said DeMarcus Cousins interested in or open to Sacramento return. Kings are not, which basically shut the door. I would hope would shut the door on that. I don't want to see DeMarcus Cousins back here. I just don't. It's just one of those things. I think it would break up the chemistry of this team. I don't think it would make sense. Welcome to Sacramento, David Lee. Yeah, no shit. Dedmon and Noel must see McGee. I don't think JaVale McGee makes any sense, James. But
do you think
Dedmon, I think, is number one. Nerlens Noel could be one.
Can Noel be a starter? Can
What's
Noel
that?
be a starter? Can Noel be a starter?
I don't think he's good enough to be a starter. I think you'd still need to go after a Cantor. You need to go after a DeAndre Jordan, Dwayne Dedmon. I mean, even Al Horford is a stretch to be a starting center.
Right.
I mean, he can do it. He fits the small ball role that a lot of teams would go after. But honestly, if I'm Vlade Divac, I asked you what you would do if you were Vlade Divac, right? If I'm Vlade Divac, and my camera's gonna start moving because I'm gonna stand up here. I'm tired of sitting. Hold on, my desk is slower than I thought it is. Josh Cox, no way in hell on Cousins. Agreed.
Yeah, I know.
If I'm Vlade Divac, and I put that on you already, I said, if you're Vlade Divac, what do you do? If I'm Vlade Divac and Al Horford says no, the first thing I do is I'm on the phone with the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I go, is it really only going to take a couple second-round picks and Bojan Bogdanovic? Is that what it's going to take to get me Steven Adams? And if you can throw in Roberson as well, then you know what? I'll give you another pick. Because I think that would ultimately be the piece that we need.
Do we have a first pick? Do we have a first round pick next year?
In 20, I don't think you give up a first round pick if that's what you're hinting at. Not for Steven Adams.
I would.
Even for his contract?
Yeah.
Or do you take Bogey out of the picture and just say throw in all picks? Because they're looking to I can't fucking talk. They're looking to shed salary. They're looking to do a salary dump. So if you go, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and give you a second round pick in a 2020 or 2021 first. Maybe I do it that way without having to get rid of Bogey.
Yeah.
Get rid of Bogey and Yogi for Adams and Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder would be a good one. I think they want to get rid of Roberson, though, as the ultimate player that they would like to get rid of.
They want to get rid of all three of them. I think that's really
we don't have room for all three of them, though.
No. But I think Schroeder was one of those that they're talking about wanting to get rid of, too.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Let's see. We already mentioned Derrick Rose is expected to meet with the Pistons. You know, honestly, if it were like a year, if we didn't have De'Aaron Fox, I would be so in on the Kings going after Derrick Rose as our starting point guard. But it's just there's no chance on earth that he would come in as a backup. I mean, you know, we talked about Isaiah Thomas, but there's just no way in hell that he would. So it should be interesting for sure. I'm basically right now I'm perusing Wojnarowski's Twitter timeline. Frank Kaminsky is another big guy that's going to be available. He's getting significant interest. That could be a backup point guard kind of guy. Backup another. we talked so much about centers today, but other backup point guards that are available on the market. Elfrid Payton, now that he's cut his hair, I'm okay with him. TJ McConnell, Ish Smith, Emmanuel Mudiay. All four of those guys are available. Charlotte is apparently looking for a backup point or looking for a point guard, and those guys could be options for them. James, Kings have all their future picks as of right now, I think. So, yeah, we finally do have picks. Raven Smith, I agree. Adams would be a good fit. Adams would be a great fit. I mean, I don't think that there's a better fit for the Kings at center than Steven Adams. He's tough. He would work the pick and roll and the pick and pop, or the pick and he doesn't really shoot very well with De'Aaron very well. The other thing that someone posted too about, we'll go back to Dwayne Dedmon a little bit, is they posted a comparison with Willie Cauley-Stein, and it was, the talks of the different, his different stat lines and things like that. And the dude is a well-rounded player. And apparently there's
you're kind of cutting out when you said
Dwayne Dedmon.
Oh, okay.
Very well-rounded player. If we pull up his stats for last season, he's actually been in the league a lot longer than I thought. He's been in the league since 2013. He was drafted by Golden State, played for Philly, played for Orlando, San Antonio. So he has some of that Popovich in him, and Atlanta. So last year he played 64 games. He averaged 25 minutes a game. He had 10.8 points. Where's rebounds? Total rebounds, 7.5 rebounds a game, 1.4 blocks. But the thing that's impressive with him is he shot 50% from the field. But his free throw percentage, he shot 81% from the line. He's a great free throw shooting big man. ESPN Bobby Marks specifically mentioned Sac as the third team for Capella. See, that's interesting that they're even mentioning the Kings. It's a trade destination. It has nothing to do with, with the Kings having interest in him. But Dwayne Dedmon, 7 feet tall, 245. He can run the floor. He's basically an upgrade at all levels from Willie Cauley-Stein. He may not jump as well, but you're what you're gonna get every night from him. The fact that he can shoot free throws is huge. 81%. They won't be doing the hack-a-shack at the end of games on Willie. It's Gary Gerald's birthday. Happy birthday, Gary Gerald. So there's that. Another thing that another player that we talked about being overpaid. We talked about Harrison Barnes and a couple other guys, right? Steve Seifert, not holding my breath on free agency. Coach Greg said it best, Sacramento's not a destination city. Trader draft is how they have to build. The good thing for the Kings, though, is they have so much money this year, they can just overpay and get somebody. In the past, they were kind of budgeted. They didn't really have the option of going, oh, they're offering you $20 million, we'll give you 24. Come play here. This year they do. Yeah. The Nuggets, I don't know if they're desperate. I don't know if they were scared of losing this player. But the Nuggets exercised the team option on Paul Millsap for $30 million this year. I don't know that Paul Millsap is a $30.3 million player.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, I mean everything is quiet on the storefront, on the news front. Signing 6'9" forward Nicolo Melli from EuroLeague power forward. He's signing a 2-year deal with them. He looks like he looks like Chris Hemsworth. He looks like Thor.
What time did free agent start at? What time did it start?
3 o'clock our time. 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. So there's a little bit of time. I unfortunately am going to be out and about most likely, so you may have to be the one that's keeping everybody afoot. On Facebook, and
that's all I can do is keep everybody afoot because I can't do much more than that.
Keith Jogonatis, the buzz is the Kings are preparing to do a big deal for Horford. The calm before the storm. Yeah, for sure, Josh, it is. So we'll ask the chat box real quick here. Before we pay another bill here, what is your dream situation? Don't sleep on the Nuggets. They are in win now mode. That's why they're paying Millsap. No, I get why they're doing it, but God, man, $30 million for Paul Millsap. I don't know. So let's pay another bill here. You guys tell me, what is your dream? Bleacher Report has Nerlens Noel and the top free agent center. Oof, I don't know about that. Dream situation. Kings sign. Let's say they need a center. They need two center positions. They need a starter and a backup, and they need a backup point guard. In the chat box or in the comment section, give me your ideal situation. We're going to pay another bill here, and then we'll go ahead and read your comments in just a moment.
If you or anyone you know is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they deserve to have someone working with them that not only knows what they're doing, but will explain everything that happens along the way. That person would be me, Coach Greg Baroza of Keller Williams Realty. I have two goals. My first goal is to coach you through the buying and selling process, making it easy to understand and as stress-free as possible, which isn't easy sometimes. My second goal is to have fun doing it. Come be a part of my team. Let me coach you or anyone you know through the real estate process. Give me a call at 916-241-8068, and let's talk about how I can coach you through the real estate process. Let me ask you one question. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I should know right now? Again, that's Greg Baroza, Keller Williams Realty, 916-241-8068.
Greg Monroe's number 2, according to James Hines. I would look at Greg Monroe as a backup.
And just to correct James, is Noel was a restricted free agent. He declined his player option, so now he's unrestricted.
Yes. I wouldn't mind entertaining Greg Monroe as a backup center. I don't think he would be able to run with the team to be the front runner, to be a starting center. But I don't see why they couldn't entertain that idea. Let's see. Holy crap. Monroe, his 110.1 offensive rating was a career high, while his 106.4 defensive rating was the second lowest in 4 seasons. His per 36-minute averages 18.8, 10.5, and 3.7 produce a line only Russell Westbrook and DeMarcus Cousins posted. What do you guys think about Jonas Valanciunas of Memphis and Toronto? I think Valanciunas picked up his option for staying in Toronto, or I'm sorry, staying in Memphis, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm looking at the NBA media list of free agents, and they have everybody who's picked up their own options and still have options out, and they said he hasn't picked it up yet.
I thought they said he did. Hey, if not, yeah, everything I'm reading right now says they're just giving reasons why he should. Jonas Valanciunas could be a really good option here.
Yeah.
I would be all for that. Give me Valanciunas. Give me Patrick Beverley. Hell yeah. And Mark Tide just said the same thing. Patrick Beverley backup, Kelly Oubre at backup small forward, DeAndre Jordan or Steven Adams at center would be legit. If we can get Kelly Oubre out of Phoenix without having to give up too much because of the fact he's restricted, I'm all for that. If you could bring Kelly Oubre in, and I'll ask you this, Mark, because you mentioned it here, and you mentioned Steven Adams. If you can get Kelly Oubre, would you be okay with losing Bogey to facilitate a deal to bring in Steven Adams? Because I feel like that's going to be what it takes in order to pry Steven Adams out of Oklahoma City. That might also include bringing in Dennis Schroeder as a backup point guard as well. You might lose Patrick Beverley at that point, the option of Patrick Beverley. But if you can get Kelly Oubre as a backup small forward and Steven Adams, would you be willing to give up the prospect of Patrick Beverley and possibly have to lose Bogdan Bogdanovic in order to facilitate that deal? Because I think the Kings are in a situation where, yes, they have the money, but there's going to have to be addition by subtraction. And unfortunately, that subtraction may include some of the some of the the more fan favorites. Will says, I want BB to stay around. Let me ask you this, Will, why? Because I truly feel that there are valuable upgrades that can be made at the backup shooting guard position over Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's a good player. He has potential, but last year he was a shell of his rookie year. He's a shell of his EuroLeague self. And like I said, I don't know if it's because he's burning the candle at both ends and he's running himself into the ground, playing nonstop basketball all year round, playing for Europe and for the Kings.
Yeah.
But you have to be a little bit worried that may be a sign of things to come for him. Good bench player that can run the point, great. But if you could get Patrick Beverley, Dennis Schroeder, Kelly Oubre, Steven Adams, why wouldn't you? You still have Frank Mason. You have Kyle Guy that just came in now. Why wouldn't you look at using him as a piece to bring in a guy like Steven Adams? Because, and I'll position it this way, Will. If it's going to require a piece that's on your roster right now to get a Steven Adams type player, who else is valuable enough to trade to bring that player in? Because I look at this roster right now and I have 4 completely untouchables. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harry Giles, Marvin Bagley.
Yeah.
Those are your untouchables. 100% stone solid untouchable. And I mentioned that before in one of the Kings group, and someone said, "Oh, you're crazy. If you could get Kevin Durant, you'd get rid of all 4. You'd get rid of one of those players." Duh. But in a normal situation, in a normal trade, in a normal player signing in Sacramento, or bringing a player to Sacramento, aside from one of the bona fide superstar players, those 4 players are 100% untouchable. So who else? Who else can you trade on this team that's going to have any value to bring in a player on a very fair rookie deal? Well, he's a little bit over a rookie deal because they paid him as a Euro player coming in. Who else can you trade on this roster? Unless
Unless it's to somebody who's looking to dump salaries.
Right. I'm okay with Adams' trade for BB, but I don't see another trade that would truly make sense for us. Adams or the Capella trade are the only 2 that are really out there that would make any type of sense. But the other thing too is we keep forgetting that they want to dump salary. If they can work, let's say Oklahoma City works a sign and trade for Willie Cauley-Stein, and they can include Steven Adams in that kind of deal. I'd even throw Bogey in as a sweetener on that deal to get rid of Willie Cauley-Stein and bring in Steven Adams. Yeah, you can have Bogan. It's cool. To get better, we have to give up assets. We did when we gave up J. Will for Bibby. Josh is new to the show. He knows that we don't like the B word on this show. But you are absolutely correct. We had to give up assets to get better. We gave up a fan favorite in Jason Williams to get Mike Bibby. And that propelled this team to a whole new level. So if you have to give up Bogey, I'm good with it. Let's go. Move along.
Assets available to give up. I mean, he's.
I mean, Frank Mason may be an asset if you pair him to the right team. Bogey. But I mean, really, after that, Yogi Ferrell doesn't have much value.
Think somebody like Costa Koufos has any value?
Costa Koufos is an unrestricted free agent.
Well, sign and trade.
Well, you can't sign and trade 2 players. I mean, if you're gonna do a Willie Cauley-Stein sign and trade, you're not gonna be able to do both.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't even think of who else is on this damn roster. Another guy that has a lot of trade value, I think, would be Nemanja Bjelica. I think you could trade Bjelica for a decent player. But other than that, I mean, okay, cool. We have Kyle Guy, we have Costa Koufos, Frank Mason, Troy Williams, Caleb Swanigan, Wenyen Gabriel, and Alec Burks are all free agents. They're going to be gone. Justin James, obviously, we just drafted him. Kyle Guy, we just drafted him. Marinkovic, we just drafted him. They're not going anywhere. The other guy that I forgot about on this roster that I would hope that they would sign at a low rate would be Corey Brewer. Bring Corey Brewer back for another year. He was a huge spark plug Alec Burke, remember that guy. I'm going to remember him as he leaves. I don't have any idea of him sticking around.
No.
Um,
And you gotta stock the Stockton roster too. So
yeah, and the Stockton roster is going to be fine because we drafted 3 players for the Stockton roster.
So do you think that Vladdy made some of those draft picks thinking that he was going to trade somebody like Bogdanovich for Steven Adams?
I think he did. I think that I definitely feel that the trade for, or I'm sorry, the drafting of Kyle Guy and JJ James Jackson and the Markinovich, whatever the hell his name is, from Europe is a direct replacement for Bogey. They're almost the same damn player.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we could lose one and then get one to develop on our own.
And we cut a little bit of expense too, because if we played,
Bogey is on a bigger deal than a normal rookie deal would have been.
Right, exactly. So
I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces. I feel that Vlade definitely has his has his ducks in a row. We're forgetting that Joe Dumars is in there now, and I guarantee you Dumars is working the phones, and it's going to be one of those things where, it's going to be interesting. Let's see, Sam Amick at 10:19, so 10 minutes ago. As for the Kings, the prospect of them landing Dwayne Dedmon is very real. Also, sources tell The Athletic, Sacramento is, in all caps, one of the secured scenarios for Houston's Clint Capella if Jimmy Butler decides to come Houston's way. The Rockets have more than one highest bidder wins. I would really like to see the Kings, like we said, on the path of Steven Adams over the Clint Capella deal, but it's to be seen what's going on there. You know what? I'm going to do this while we're on the phone. I don't know that I'll get a response back, but I'm still going to send a text anyways.
Who you sending a text to?
Don't worry about who I'm sending a text to. Hold on.
Might be that way.
I'm sending a text to Sam Amick.
Oh, hobnobbing again, huh?
Yeah. So you mentioned Kings in on Capella pending Butler. Any noise?
So Josh Cox asks, why is the 60th pick not playing in the California Classic?
Because he's still under contract in Europe.
Is he? Okay. I wonder if that was a pick for the future a couple years ago. Yeah.
Gotta be.
His rights for a year or two.
All right, let's see if he even reads that. I don't know if I still have the right number for him anymore, but could be interesting for sure. Report Kings not confident on Horford.
Boy, that sure changed in the last hour.
Well,
I mean, from when we started, when we started today, it was he was the number one. We were his number one option, and it was a done deal. To not anymore. That sure changed fast.
Yeah, what I think is going on there is is Philly is ready to double down on losing Jimmy Butler. If Philly loses Jimmy Butler to Miami or Houston, the idea is that they're going to throw a much larger contract at Al Horford than the Kings plan to do. And funny, I just clicked on a rumor and it just came up the same thing. Horford has very real interest in joining the 76ers if they can make it possible. Philly is reportedly willing to facilitate a sign and trade for Jimmy Butler, but has Tobias Harris and JJ Redick to address as well. The Kings have a better chance at signing Hawks center Dwayne Dedmon. This is from Sam Amick, and are amongst the teams willing to take on Capella if the Rockets trade for Butler. The Kings are ready to pounce on Al Horford with significant offers once free agency begins. Report is that confirmed by James Ham. That the Kings consider Horford a major target. However, sources tell Amick of The Athletic that team officials expect to sign him with someone else. Sacramento's looking to upgrade over Willie Cauley-Stein, and Horford definitely qualifies. He has put up solid numbers for more than a decade in both Atlanta and Boston, earning 5 All-Star appearances. Sam, I asked Sam, I said, you mentioned Kings on Capella pending Butler. Any noise on possible Adams deal with OKC and Kings? He says, hey, Greg, I think that's dead, but could be wrong. So there's that.
So the only thing I don't like about Dedmon, and this could be more of a function of just how bad Atlanta's been for the last couple years. But if you look at his, and this is really a stupid stat to look at, but I'm going to do it anyway. His plus minus over the last 5 or 6 years, he's significantly negative. He was minus 173 this year, minus 159 last year. Going back to Orlando a couple years ago, he was minus 140. But then you throw in he was 191 with San Antonio. So I don't know. That's just kind of an interesting thing that he's been on the negative of plus minus over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be I don't know. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, there's
how come the 6? Oh, we already did that. I like Corey, Alec Burke. Remember that guy? So, I almost wish that free agency just started earlier.
Well, we all wanted to. That way you can have the draft with the right hats.
Right?
Let's see here. Mavs expect to sign Powell to $33 million.
Jesus, really? $33 million for Powell?
No, Powell.
Oh, Powell. I was like, Pau Gasol's going to get $33 million. Is it 1997 again?
I know. As soon as I said that, I knew it came out wrong.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad to know that I have the right phone number for him.
There you go. Trying to see if there's anything else that's come through, and I'm not seeing anything.
No. Dwight Powell for 3 years. Yeah. When is Rosa breaking down the Women's World Cup?
Who wrote
Rosa, when are you breaking down the Women's World Cup?
As soon as I watch any games, I will break it down. I will break down if the USA plays in the championship game. I will give my breakdown of the championship game next week.
So they're playing Europe. They're playing all of Europe. They're playing England today or tomorrow, I believe it is.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Let's see, Dwight Powell 3. So I'm going to do a real quick browse of the Twitter sphere. See if there's anything else we need to cover beforehand. If anything big breaks this afternoon, whether I'm out and about or not, I'll pop on and do a Facebook Live video from my phone, and I'll invite you in. And we could discuss it. Baseball news: Stephen Piscotty is out 10 days for the A's. Sprained knee. Barnbaum's crying about that. Hey, what the fuck, Barnbaum? Hold on.
Did you? That's funny. Are you pulling that up? Or are you pulling up Barnbaum's feed?
I'm just. I noticed he listed a whole bunch of Kings news things and didn't include us.
Oh, did he? Was that when he was when he was in full Oakland A's uniform?
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
He went down to Anaheim to watch the Oakland A's number one rival in the American League West, the Anaheim Angels, and he was dressed up in full Oakland A's gear, getting onto the train to go down to the game.
So Carmichael Dave says, I don't think Al was close as many reported. I believe the Kings would love to have him, but not at the price he's commanding. Capella may be the same issue. Anything more than a protected first and filler would likely be a no-go. Yeah, someone said just get Dedmon and move on. There's no need to bring in Capella. I can't disagree with that, to be completely honest with you. It's one of those things where it's like, why throw out too much?
So Jason Ross this is about 12 hours ago, but he tweeted, my Kings preference is for Horford. If they end up with Dedmon, then I think they need to go after Randall. Dedmon would be bench depth, and Randall would be a big signing. Mix in McConnell or Joseph at point guard for depth, and that's the look of a pretty well-rounded roster. Oh, hey, thanks, Mike. If you need sources on the following Sacramento Kings, go to these guys, and we must be 11.
I'm watching the show on my iPad, but it won't let me comment. I hear Greg Rosa commenting on my athletics gear on the San Joaquin train. All right, cool. At least that means he is listening. I'll give him a free pass. All right, Mike, you're good. All right, guys. There's not really much happening. This is the calm before the storm. Kings news is going to come in hopefully quick. And it may not be Kings news per se, but it's going to be other players that we have on our wish list that's going to start falling off the board. That's going to kind of paint a better picture for what the Sacramento Kings are going to be able to do and what they're going to be doing. So that's the way to look at it. Don't be frustrated if you don't see Kings information right from the jump. Remember, they are going to be a second tier destination, but keep an eye on the different stories of maybe if there's a team where multiple people are looking at a certain player and that player goes elsewhere, or if a team has a backup plan, let's say, player A and player B, well, they sign player A. Well, guess what? Now player B is going to be looking for a little bit more money. And if a coveted team is after a player A style player and they have that second player in mind, then that might be a very big value for the Kings to go after. So definitely got to look at it as a glass half full type of thing. If I hear any more rumors, if you see any more rumors, I'll definitely try to reach out and get some more information about that. I've also requested Sam Amick, once things settle down, maybe we can get him on the show and talk a little bit more about what has transpired or what could transpire with the Kings going forward. So with that being said, this was our NBA free agency show. Stay tuned to or stay locked to our Facebook page, sportstalk916.com. We'll try to update as much as possible as news comes down the wire. But it should be a good day. The Kings have a lot of money to spend. Harrison Barnes should be announced right at the jump of free agency, and then that'll be the first domino piece in place. And then the trickle-down effect from that will continue. NBA has set a salary cap for the season effective for July free agency at $109.14 million with a tax line of 132.6. So gives a little bit more room for the Kings to come in and start spending some money. So we'll see what happens. So for Greg Veroza, for Tony Pacheco, for Albert Chavez, for everyone that listened, we appreciate all of you guys. Like I said, keep it locked to Facebook, and we will do everything we can to keep everything updated. But for those guys I mentioned, Greg Veroza, appreciate you, and we will see you guys next week.
Good night, Larry.
If something big happens, we'll see what happens.